Greetings, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. You're tuning in to Too Ghoul for School, the podcast, a death-style podcast for the morbidly inclined. Class is in session. I'm your ghoulish hostess, Jocelyn Wen, aka Glamour Ghoul Beauty School. I'm an actress, I have my BA in psychology, and I am a purveyor of all things dark and spooky. As we know, spooky season is upon us. We have an extra special first-time segment of current news, otherwise known as Current Booze. Okay, Halloween Horror Nights. Cue the spooky bitch anthem. Dun, 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 dun. Sing it to me. Dance for me. Girl. I would play it, but don't have rights. Yeah. Bow, bow, bow. I'm going to give you some insider tips for the festivities that is, and very special occasion, of Halloween Horror Nights. I live for this. Could hardly contain my excitement. Filing in, going through the queues, going through security, and I'm going to give you a few tips to make your Halloween Horror Nights visit a little more fun and less real-life spooky. So, the event formally starts at 7 p.m., goes till 2 a.m., and they'll kind of open doors around 6:30, but it officially starts at 7. Tip number 1, start in the lower lot. It's going to be a little bit quicker because everyone's going to flood to the first houses. If you go down to the lower lots, like where the Terror Tram is, that's a good one to start. We started with that. They have several segments in that maze that are super fun, including Nope and Us, based on Jordan Peele's horror films as of late. Also, The Weeknd, that can be a pretty long wait time as well. Another tip, there are several things that they don't allow in the park, especially for Halloween Horror Nights. So things to leave at home, obviously any weapons. My husband often carries his knife on him for its utility and as well as protection. Luckily, I told him to leave that in the car right before we parked. And secondly, something he had on him that we were not allowed to bring into the park was his small flashlight. Again, great utility, but they don't want it in the park. They don't want you turning a flashlight on in the mazes. My spooky goth alternative friends, leave the spiky accessories, jewelry, belts at home. Your chains as well. You can get away with studs, the pyramid-shaped studs that are a little more blunted, but unfortunately, my good friend Dana had to relinquish her spiky wristband, her favorite spiky wristband, so better off leaving it at home if you're worried about either having to lose your place in line and go back to the car and waste valuable maze time, or having to give it to them and then they just throw it away, which we did the latter because we wanted to see all those mazes. And she was a little bummed out about this. So if you don't want to get bummed out because you had to give up your cool spiky wristband or your belt or your chains, leave it at home. And while it seemed unnecessary at the time, totally understand for everyone's safety. There are people that are opportunistic that might take advantage of the kind of chaotic, hectic atmosphere that is Halloween Horror Nights. If you've been before, you know what I'm talking about. People running around with chainsaws, people screaming, all these things that you would never have normally in public. It's a great veil for people with more nefarious agendas in mind. So as much as at the time it was a bummer, it is necessary and for everyone's safety. Another thing to leave behind, leave at home, is unfortunately costumes. Yeah, I had a friend that went with us this year, and she really wanted to do a costume, but I had known from years prior, because I also wanted to dress in costume, be on theme, and they do not allow this. Again, very similarly, they don't want people confusing guests with scare actors, and again, people that want to take advantage of this very unusual scenario where you have people doing kind of seemingly antisocial things in a public space might try to do some of their own tomfoolery, and it is definitely a safety concern. So I 100% get it. But yeah, definitely wear like your favorite horror film t-shirt and do spooky makeup. Probably not a full-on like they definitely don't allow masks. I say masks meaning like full covered costume masks. Of course, protective masks to prevent the spread of COVID are totally encouraged and acceptable. And I wouldn't be surprised if also like doing your face up with lots of face paint would also kind of get you in the you need to take it off zone / can't come in. All this is up on their websites. Just Google Halloween Horror Nights and go through Universal's page. They'll explain everything that you can and can't bring. I obviously didn't take a very good look at the page, so I'm just giving you a little heads up for anybody who likes to dress more alternative, so that way it's not a surprise for you like it was for us. And I am in no way like sponsored by Universal or Halloween Horror Nights. I bought a ticket like everyone else, and I've been a big fan ever since I was little, and I couldn't go. I remembered even going to Universal one time, and I told my dad I wanted to go, and I don't think we knew that it was like a separate event that they basically shut the park down early for and then reopen at 6:37. And also I was much too young and I would have probably been traumatized. So yeah, 13 and over. And even then, like really, like, you know, if you are going to bring kids, like really assess whether you think that they're going to be cool with some pretty graphic violence and some very unsettling jump scares, to say the least. I screamed my head off. Yeah, there was like 3 times after we'd come out of a maze and my friends would be like, "Are you okay?" Like seriously. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, you know, because like some of us, we do find it fun to get spooked or get scared. I definitely fall in that category. We were actually talking about it as we were on the Terror Tram. I was like, yeah, for me, I'll kind of scream, but then I'll laugh right after. One of my other friends, Serena, was like, yeah, I just kind of like am laughing the whole time. And kind of like try to banter with the monsters or the scare actors. And oftentimes those are the ones, you know, the guests that they're kind of like, my time's wasted on you. I want to go spook someone that's going to like get a scared reaction. And some of them, a lot of them will actually like play back with you and stuff. So super talented actors, a part of this attraction, a part of this event. And it's just a really well-oiled machine. And I mean, come on, it's Universal. They have the props, they have the effects, the makeup artists, the set design. It's really just something to experience. So if you're really brave and not like me, and you find going into these haunted attractions like a walk in the park, you're probably not going to be interested in what I have to say next. But if you are like me, where you're terrified, but you have this really unnerving amount of morbid curiosity, I always try to get a group of friends to come along. Or if you don't get a crew together, you can make friends in line. Make friends with strangers? What? Like, no. And stick to them like the parasitic being that you are. I don't love small talk like many of us, especially us goths. Even if you don't make friends like me, you're probably gonna end up getting really close to the people in front of you. Whether they're willing or not, because you're chicken shit and a scaredy cat, and you're probably gonna be like curling up into them in front of you. Although I will say, having gone through the pandemic and this being my first Halloween Horror Nights since that, I did a lot less of that, but still, you want to. Even like I never normally want to get anywhere near a stranger, but when I'm in the throes of the Halloween Horror Nights mazes, oh my god, like I could not disappear into you far enough. That being said, you might want to just preemptively make friends, so that way it's a little less awkward when you snuggle up into their back trying to hide. Like I was saying, invite a group to add a little padding between you and the horrible things in the mazes at Halloween Horror Nights. If you have friends like mine, yeah, my friends, upon going through a couple of mazes, decide that they want to go behind me in all the mazes that followed because they found me hilarious and hysterical when I get scared. Which is like, yeah, I'm terrified. That's why I invited you guys. Thanks. I was screaming like a mad woman. I asked you to come for the sole reason of not wanting to be front or on the sides or even in the back. I was hoping that you guys would all kind of form a nice, like, cocoon buffer donut, if you will, around me. And you guys have all decided that I'm in front now, and you've totally negated my plan. Blast. I was able to for a bit. Luckily, my awesome friend Bex came up to the front with me because she took pity on me. Also, I think she just wanted to actually get through the maze, which I was not really getting us through at any real efficient pace because I was freaking scared. It is a timed thing when the like scare actors come out, and if you're first, you're oftentimes the one that triggers the actor, the noise, the lighting, whatever it might be. Probably oftentimes all three of those things. And they get you good, especially if you're a scream queen like me. But it's a lot of fun. And I also learned you just don't want to have too much space start to form between you and the people in front of you, because that's another opportunity. You're basically restarting the trigger for whatever that room has in store. So that's where you're probably gonna run through a really scary room and into a couple just trying to enjoy date night like I did. Sorry guys, sorry to that couple. Yeah. We kicked off our night with, like I said, the Terror Tram. I really loved the narrative they created at the beginning about this creepy killer clown that lives on the back lot. You'll see. Don't want to spoil anything else on that regard. Yeah, they have a lot of fun surprises. Ian, like yours. Yeah. Oh my god! Oh god. Next, we hit up, I believe it's the Horror Hotel maze. It's a new one this year, and it was by far my favorite. Again, excellent narrative. They really set it up with lots of fun videos to watch while you're in line, kind of painting the story of the history behind this hotel. The displays, setups in the maze were amazing. Incredible effects. And the acting, the scare actors were so on point. Chick. Yes! my favorite maze of Halloween Horror Nights this year. We also did the weekend After Hours Nightmare, which was a lot of fun and very innovative and different. The next maze we did was Blumhouse, so it's kind of a double feature of Freaky and The Black Phone. And it took me a second to connect the dots that Freaky is that one horror film coming out with Vince Vaughn and that girl there. It's almost like the hot chick, but instead of like just a criminal that commits like small time crime, like robbing convenience stores, she switches bodies with a serial killer.
Ancient Aztec and dagger used in ritual sacrifice.
And then Black Phone, the scares got me so bad. Terrifying. In addition, we went to the Legends Collide maze. Basically, your classic horror monsters, including Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy. And that one is an excellent maze. It's a little less gory, but still amazing scares. We actually didn't do some of like the bigger mazes, a lot of it for the length of the wait times. For example, I didn't go to Halloween because I've done that in years past. And from what I've seen online, I did watch, I have to get his name, I will get it for you guys, but there's an amazing YouTuber who goes through all the mazes for you, so you don't have to if you're not in the area or time or money is a factor. So Kevin Heimbach, spelt Heimbach, is the YouTuber that does a really amazing walkthrough and coverage of Halloween Horror Nights. If you want to get an idea of what you're in for, or again, because of various constraints, can't make it, geographical or financial, this is a really great way to get a really awesome taste of what is there. And also, if you're like me and you do get really scared, it's nice to kind of know what's coming and stuff. There was a period where I was like, I don't want to go in any haunted attractions, but I do want to see what's inside. So I would like watch these kind of videos pretty much to get my dose of nightmare fuel. And my friends who went with us, one of them works at Halloween. One of them works at Universal doing the Harry Potter maze. Steve, he's awesome. He helped us be our tour guide for all the mazes. And he was like, Halloween is cool. Definitely. And if you're a big fan, go for it, which I did grow up on the films. That was one of the big franchises that really got me into horror. But again, I've in Horror Nights past have seen the Halloween maze. And from what I saw online, it hasn't changed too much. And it's a lot of vignettes from the movie. And, it's not as like different as like The Weekend, or another one that we were bummed out we didn't get to go to was La Llorona. So if that one is on your list, definitely make it a priority. It was 2 hours wait, so we didn't make it, unfortunately. I did watch the walkthrough. Yeah, that was an incredible maze. bummed I didn't get to see it in person. In addition, there is one more maze. Yeah, Scarecrow the Reaping. And I like the concept, and I didn't go through it myself personally, but from what I could tell, it looked like a lot of fun, a lot of good jump scares, and worth checking out if you have the time. Again, was one of the 3 I didn't get to go through was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. From what I gathered, if you are a fan of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, you're gonna love it. Otherwise, it's kind of like, okay, it's spooky clowns or grotesque looking deviant clowns, and it's very visually stunning, but it's not like, if you're there for like real spookums, it might not be what you're looking for. I regrettably have yet to see Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but it is definitely on my list of horror films to watch. I'll let you know what I think once I do watch it. So those are my picks. Again, the Universal Horror Hotel, my fave. Something about that, I don't know if it's because of like the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disneyland speaks to my sensibilities, but this definitely had a very gruesome, dark kind of twist on the whole like haunted hotel vibes. So if you like is it Cecil Hotel, or I'll get my facts right. Hold on. Yeah, so I was right. It's the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. Very spooky, deaths and violence and eerie things that happen there. You're going to love the horror hotel. The Shining vibes for sure. Like, yeah, I think that was a big component of what was so awesome about it. Also, it kind of spans the early, like, 1900s, like the Roaring 20s and 30s and 40s, and it has this very nostalgic, vintage era aesthetic that I like. So yeah, they have like, I guess, a phonograph playing. Like, it's just so eerie and it's perfect. Like, everything was done brilliantly. I actually like rewatched it a couple of times on this YouTuber's channel, Kevin Heimbach, and I loved it. Like, I wanted to just absorb it and take it in, even though I got to do it in person. So totally recommend that one. So in summary, Halloween Horror Nights, come prepared, know what you can and can't bring and what you can and can't wear. And if you're going to prioritize any of like the super long wait line mazes and you haven't already done the Halloween maze, I would recommend that for sure. But second runner up to prioritize would be La Llorona. And then of the other mazes, the Universal Horror Hotel Man for me is my top one of the night. And Blumhouse is super awesome. But they were all really, really fun. From my husband's favorite, that was definitely the Terror Tram. And it's so cool because you get to, I'm not spoiling anything. They do pretty much the same route every year. You get to walk through the freaking Bates Motel like set and have a photo op with Norman Bates. I mean, it never gets old. And that's a photo op with Norman Bates in front of the Psycho House. We skipped that for this year, and I have my picture with him. We were too good into getting spooked at that time. We were like, let's keep going. Like, the adrenaline was there. It was such a fun night. Really, if you don't know what to do for spooky season yet and you want to get some good scares in, go to Halloween Horror Nights. I will say one of the things they've changed in the recent years is they got rid of one of my favorite components, because you're walking in and, oh my God, it's dark. There's fog going. They're blasting like Rob Zombie and Disturbed, and they have flames going, and they used to have these amazing, talented, beautiful go-go dancers, and it just was like chef's kiss for me. Like, I literally, my first Halloween Horror Nights experience, I remember being like, I'm home. Like, this is where I belong. And yeah, the sound of chainsaws going in the background, people screaming, like, it's just something else. And that's why I love that it's not just like some haunted attractions that, you know, you're walking into a park for. They create a real horror land, and I just eat it up. I know you will too, so highly recommend. They are still going through the rest of October. All that being said, Halloween Horror Nights is not for everyone. There are those who prefer to feel more spooked than scared. I was having a conversation about this with my career coach, Farah. Hey, Farah. I definitely identify with that. I have to be mentally prepared to be full on scared. So a few ideas for some not so terrifying Halloween activities include, of course, your local pumpkin patch and hay rides, and visiting your local occult shops. Here in the Valley in LA, I really love the Psychic Eye. Not Psychic Guy, like my husband likes to say. Ooh, visit your local cemetery. I mean, there's bound to be some around you because people die everywhere. And another really great spooky commercial equivalent to Halloween Horror Nights is, of course, Disneyland, when they do their makeover of the park with Nightmare Before Christmas decor, and they do up the Haunted Mansion. I haven't actually, oh no, I have gotten to do that where Jack's like everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty magical. I mean, the Haunted Mansion's already pretty spooky, but I mean, if you can bring in Jack Skellington and This Is Halloween in any capacity on anything, I'm pretty happy. Also in LA, a company called the House of Spirits is hosting their haunted cocktail soiree, which I plan to go to with my husband and some friends. Yeah, I'll report back to you guys on it. But if you want, look it up. I'll have it in the show notes. LA House of Spirits haunted cocktail soiree. And in general, just if you're not in LA for these things or in SoCal, Google Halloween pop-ups near me is another great way to find some Halloween fun in your area. But yeah, I would love to hear what you enjoyed doing. Do you like doing more of the full-on like hardcore thrill seeker scary, or are you more like spooky, fun, more lighthearted, ghost spirits and witches kind of thing? Like, what do you prefer? Comment in the comments below, or in the podcast comments section. I'm new to this, guys. Bear with me. You know what to do. You get it. Just do the little thing. Just type away and let me know what spooky things you like to do, so I can get some ideas, because I'm always searching and learning along with you guys. Again, I am an enthusiast, and I'm not the sole expert on this at all. I am figuring it out like the rest of you, like I'm figuring out how to do this podcast. Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of Too Ghoul for School, the podcast. Thank you for hanging out and sitting for a spell. Like, share, comment. Stay spooky, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. Till next time. But yeah, if the opportunity for engaging with a mortal permits, I'm cordial. Always be cordial. You know, you don't have to perpetuate that idea that goths are all really unpleasant people to be around. We're not. A lot of us are very friendly.
Oh my god!
He got you.
I thought it was a person! A normal person!
Ian, like yours.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You're scared he wasn't accurate.
Blood on her skin, dripping with sin. Do it again, living dead girl. Just silent discoing to the like ooh parts, but I can't do it, so I'm just gonna. All right, enough of that.